Wow, my hands are ashy. Today is going to be kind of a different video. I'm coming on here and being quite vulnerable with you guys about a certain topic, and it has everything to do with health and wellness, and that is mental health. I talk about this quite often on my Instagram. You can follow me right here, and it's going to be linked down below. I have dealt with anxiety and depression for about 7 years now. I was diagnosed back in 2015. I have been in therapy on and off since I was 15, just with things that I dealt with in my personal life. My mental health journey did start in about middle school. I did deal with eating disorder when I was in middle school, predominantly like elementary school, middle school, high school, etc. And then I went to a PWI for college. Just felt like my body wasn't like every other girl's. They're Caucasian girls that went to my school. I was very curvy, I had a shape, and I felt like I needed to look like them. And so that's when my eating disorder started. I started out with binging, of starving myself, and the anorexia aspect. And what is so crazy is my mom is actually a therapist. She saw the signs and she said that she was gonna, get me set up with a specialist that dealt with it if I didn't change my behavior. And of course I didn't want to do that, so I hid those behaviors from my parents as much as possible. And I dealt with the eating disorder probably into high school, probably my freshman year of college. It's like the start of my mental health journey, and I would say that my mental health really made an impact when my cousin passed away. She had colon cancer, and we were actually the same age. My cousin Maya, we were really close. She passed away when she was 19. It really affected me really drastically, and it sent me into a downward spiral. I was 14 when she passed away, and then right after, my cousin, she actually was murdered. Probably like 3 weeks to a month later after Maya passed away, and that just took a complete toll on my mental health. I was very depressed. I had anxiety all the time, and usually when you deal with anxiety and depression, it's usually something that triggers it, and that's usually trauma. If you watch my vlogs, you know this always has water in it. I love it. I decided to get help in 2015 because in 2014 and going into 2015, I went through a breakup in college. Trigger warning. Decided that I was going to commit suicide, and I prepared all my notes and everything, and I felt like I didn't even think I was gonna get emotional, but I felt like I didn't have anything to live for at that time. I felt like my life was useless. I felt like I didn't have any purpose. I felt alone. And when I was gonna do it, I remembered, it was kind of like a flashback. I remembered my parents telling me that one day I was gonna have to form my own relationship with Christ. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents pretty much focused on a relationship with Christ and not the religiosity of Christianity. I didn't really have accountability for myself. It was more like I leaned on my parents to always be there for me and pray for me and do different things like that, but I didn't have a true relationship. So in that moment of feeling like I didn't have anything to live for, I cried out to God. I said, at this moment, I'm going to do something that I feel is the right decision, even though I know that it's not because I feel this way. Give me a sense of peace or something. I need you. And in that moment, I felt a sense of love and peace that I hadn't gotten in so long. It's something that I can't really explain. That's when I decided to go back to therapy seriously, and I was going once a week, and that's when I got diagnosed with clinical depression and anxiety. What I'm really here for is knowing how I have functioned for 6 years with anxiety and depression without any antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds. And I will say this right now, I don't want anybody out there that is taking anxiety meds or depression meds to think that it makes you weak or it makes you crazy or anything like that. That's not the case. I am not anti pharmaceutical drugs that can aid helping you. I just decided personally to take the other route, and I'm still open to anxiety meds and depression meds if I do need it, and if it does come to a point that I do need. I just wanted to clarify that because I don't want anybody to think that this is anti anxiety and depression meds when it's not. For about 8 years, I've lived a sustainable lifestyle and a conscious lifestyle and a conscious life. And I was dibbling and dabbling in herbs and things like that back in the past. But really, when I was diagnosed about 6 years ago, that's when I really dove into like herbalism and holistic health and wellness, just to see if that would help before I did make the decision to do anti-anxiety meds and antidepressants. The things that I did to help and for me to help combat the anxiety and depression, and I will say that I still have depressive episodes, I still deal with anxiety, but these things were really helpful for me to try to go the holistic route. I do want to say that I do have depressive episodes and I do still deal with anxiety, but it's not as often as it used to be when I didn't know my body and what I needed, because sometimes I will say that just because I feel this way and this works for me, it may not work for you. So I would say go do your own research, try to experiment and try to figure out what worked. I decided that I was going to go to therapy. I started going to therapy in 2015, and I did have the same therapist up until 2018, and then I took a break from therapy thinking that I was okay. No, yes, I had her until 2018, and I took a break for about 6 months. A life change happened and I needed to go back to therapy, which is totally fine. I was fine. Last year, I found a new therapist, a Black woman, and she's been really helpful, and I've been unpacking different traumas and things like that to help me deal with my anxiety and depression a little bit better. So the number one thing I have been doing is going to therapy constantly, and I go once a week. Every Friday, actually. I go every Friday at noon, and that is blocked off in my calendar all the time. I don't have freelance work around there. I don't schedule anything unless I know like ahead of time. I always go to therapy every single week because that's what I need. I make sure that I'm praying. I make sure that I'm meditating on the Word. I read the Bible. I do devotionals. And I make sure that I talk to people that hold me accountable, to pray for me, to intercede for me in my time of need, because sometimes I know when you're dealing with mental health, it's kind of hard. And I wouldn't even say it's kind of hard. It is hard to reach out to people when you feel like you're going through something, you feel like people don't understand. But those people that you keep close and that hold you accountable and that you look at as friends, I plead you, if you are having suicidal ideations, if you just need to talk, find at least one person you can talk to. If that's your mom, your dad, your sister, your best friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, the bus driver, somebody. Like, you need to talk to somebody. Therapy, then praying and making sure that I'm talking to God. And then number 3, I take a lot of herbs. So I take a lot of natural herbs that help aid anxiety and depression, and I take those every day in a tincture. So I put them in tea, I put them in water, I put them in juice, anything that I can get to at the beginning of the day. I put those tinctures in, tinctures like lemon balm, tinctures like ashwagandha, ginkgo biloba, ginseng, different things like that. It's herbs that I have explored and things that I put together that I had to take out, just anything that could work for me. And that's pretty much I guess that would be my standard meds that I take every day are my tinctures. And I try to take those every single day. Acupuncture has been super helpful for me in reference to managing my anxiety and depression. The garage is opening downstairs. Acupuncture has been really helpful to manage. I was going very often. I was going like 2 times a week, and I haven't gone in a while just because my schedule has been a little bit crazy, but acupuncture has definitely helped. Sorry. Learning my triggers has been really helpful in reference to managing my anxiety and depression, and that goes with therapy, me going through my trauma to see what triggers me. But again, sometimes with anxiety and depression, nothing can trigger it at all. You just feel like an overwhelming sadness or the overwhelming anxiousness. I'm the type of person that I really have to talk things out. Even if I'm rambling, I have to always sort things out, the things that are going through my head. So if I don't feel like I'm worthy that day, or I feel like I have imposter syndrome, or I feel like I just don't feel myself that day, I talk to the people that I trust and confide in, and they just listen. And I think when you're dealing with mental health, sometimes you just need people to listen. Sometimes you don't need a solution. Sometimes you just want to be heard. And that's one thing that I always try to say, is that you want to be heard, and that's okay. Your feelings are valid, no matter what you feel, and your depressive feelings, your anxious feelings, or just dealing with mental health, it's okay. Your feelings are valid. You matter. Your feelings matter. These are all things that matter. Into myself and trying to figure out who I am truly and what makes me me, like what makes Sosha Sosha. I think that that's really been helpful for me to manage my anxiety and depression without traditional meds. It's been quite a journey. I'll be completely honest. I would say for the last 2 weeks or so, I have been going through a depressive episode. It hasn't been as bad. I would say it's been mild to moderate, but I have been going through a depressive episode. And I was triggered by something, and I went into the depressive episode. And I think the more I get to know myself, I can see what triggers are, and I can see what I can do to try to soothe myself. And I've learned that rest is the best thing. If you don't feel like doing something that day, and you don't have to, don't. Just rest. Rest your mind. Take a nap, sleep, do something that brings you joy in that moment, even if you can't find that joy. I've been implementing a lot of rest in this season, and I think it's helpful, and it's helping me a lot to get to know myself, and it's getting to know self. Going outside and walking and moving my body have been really, really helpful. It gives me a different sense of perspective. When I'm able to go outside, I'm able to clear my head, and I'm able to, move my body and service my body the way that it's supposed to. This is my first sit-down video in like 3 years. More about how I manage my anxiety and depression without traditional meds. Like I said, traditional meds are not off the table, but I am going to continue the holistic route until I cannot. You have to take care of your mental health. You have to rest. You have to eat well, you have to drink water, you have to take care of you. And that's one thing that I want to implement on my channel. Like, the mundane things of life, they're beautiful. Rest is beautiful. You are amazing. Healing isn't linear, and that's okay. But just know that I'm here rooting. I'm here rooting for you. I'm here. If you ever want to talk to me, you can always email me, slide in my DMs. I'm always open for conversation, and I just want you to know that not only I love you, but God loves you, and your mental health matters. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this helped. I can also go into depth about how I manage my anxiety and depression symptoms, a lot more. Put it in the comments below and I'll make another video. I appreciate you guys so much for all your support. I hope this helped a little bit. All right, guys, love and light. See you in the next video.